Good morning, everybody. Here for another check-in. It's Tuesday, so wanted to get with you guys and show you what's going on. Mainly the progress being made in the new release and the now present Lightbar functionality. So let's take a look at that. And I'm going to switch over here to messy desktop camera, and we're going to go ahead and play. I got my DualShock 4 here. Currently it's being plugged in by the USB dongle, the Sony dongle. But this of course works anyway. I'm just saying for reference. So let's go ahead and launch this off here. And I got to consciously remember to keep this window up high so it doesn't get clipped from my two overlays down below. Alright, so originally last we spoke, the Lightbar was being built into the profiles. I've done a 180 on that because InputMapper is now, involved with so many other controllers, DualShock 3, plenty of other ones, that taking up a tab in there for something that's only for this controller seems a little odd. So instead, I built it into this gears menu for the actual controller status bar. And this gear menu populates based on the device. So if it's not a DualShock 4, you won't have this Lightbar option. You also won't have trackpad as a mouse. But anyway, going on to the Lightbar, you see we have the same thing we used to have before, which is the 3 different selectable states where you can assign a Lightbar. It's on battery state, meaning it's currently in use and not plugged into anything. It's charging, which means it's plugged into USB, but the battery's not 100%. And it's fully charged, meaning it's plugged into USB and the battery is completely charged. Excuse me, I'm a little congested this morning. Let's go ahead, and you see these have a nice little drop-down box where you can actually see the progress of the Lightbar, and these are, live indications of what the Lightbar will do. However you create that gradient, that's what will show up in here. So I got one called battery level, and that's actually what it's using right now. Since the controller is on battery, it's using the battery level Lightbar profile. So we'll jump into this, and what I've created here is pretty basic. I'll start with the toolbar up here. You can of course name the profile. You can create a description, which isn't really used for anything right now. I might turn that into like a mouse over balloon or something if you're going through the list. But right now it doesn't do anything. It's kind of just of a placeholder because all the other things I'm creating in here allow you to add a description as well. So its behavior, which right now it's going off of a value, but you could either set it to time, none, which means it pretty much does nothing, or value. And since it's off of a value, we have to select which control we're mapping it to. And here you see I can map it to any numeric input that this controller has. So I could take this and assign it to the left trigger. Let's go ahead and do that. So now you see it changed color, and I'll depress the left trigger, and you see the Lightbar changes depending on how much I push this trigger. So and conceivably you could assign it to the there's rumble. You could make it so the Lightbar lights up when you rumble, something like that. Let's see, we got the gyro, the accelerometer. We'll go ahead and play with this some. Actually, let's create a new profile for this so I don't make a mess out of this one. We'll go ahead into, actually I got a couple blank ones here. I'll use one of these. Alright, so I got this one assigned now. You see the Lightbar shut off because there's blank, there's nothing going on here. We are going to set this to value, and we're going to set the control to, let's do a gyro X. And let's see, to add a point on this, you just click at any location, and it creates a marker here where you know, we can select it and change our red, green, blue. So let's up this to blue. You see the light. You see the light bar just. Hopefully, I'm in. Yeah, I'm in frame. The light bar just turned blue as soon as I did this. This is all live, so you can change any of this however you want, and it's going to take effect on the controller immediately. But anyways, we have one point that's going to be blue. I'm going to create another point down here that is completely dark. So now we have a progression from left to right based on the value of the gyro. That'll be black, which is essentially off for the light bar, and turn blue. So now if I shake this, the action of shaking it will make it turn blue. Actually, that would be accelerometer. Gyro is mapped to tilting. There it is, the left to right to tilt. So as I tilt it, it turns blue. I don't know, it's a goofy thing. I mean, use it for whatever you want. There's the accelerometer one. So, I mean, I set at the time. We can animate it. It's going over 5 seconds here. Give or take, the time doesn't seem to map up correctly. There seems to be a little discontinuity, but it's not a huge deal. 5 seconds in here doesn't actually seem to play out as 5 seconds on the controller. But to better demonstrate an animated one, let's go to one of the rainbow ones. So we're going to switch this to rainbow 3. We're going to edit that, and you see here I got a lot more points on here, and you can see the controller is now animating. I'm going to get this a little closer, even though it's out of focus. It's animating through that timeline now because I have the behavior set to time. These can be, you know, moved around. You select it, you can change the color. If you've ever worked in any kind of photo editing program before, you're pretty used to this whole gradient with the little ear mark kind of a layout, and that's what I was going for, since people are probably, you know, familiar with it. Removing one of these isn't quite intuitive. You got to right click the little mark, and of course to add it again, you just click on the timeline where you want to add it, and it'll create a guy and then modify it as you see fit. It's when you're on the animation, you see I got it starting with red and ending with red, and that's because it'll actually loop around. So if you don't want it to cut to a different color, you want to have it start and end with the same one. That way it looks like it's a smooth transition during the loop. Let's see, what else can we talk about here. If you don't want to actually like gradually animate, like if you want to create some sort of a blinking pattern, what you do is exactly what you would do if you were making a gradient that you wanted to make it look like stripes. You just create the little ear marks that are very close together, and I will demonstrate that with a new profile here. We'll have it blink black and blue. So let's create a couple extra marks here, and I'm going to take every other mark here. Actually, yeah, okay, I'm doing this right. I have to go over it in my head here because it does get a little tricky when you're trying to do this. So we're going to butt this up right on it. This guy is going to be blue too, so that keeps that part solid. And we're going to put that right up on it. Whoop. And see, we're going to keep that black, and then we're going to go back to blue here. And that'll be blue, and then we'll have another black to end it off with. There we go. So let's set this behavior to time. And you see now we got a blinking effect. Let's speed this up quite a bit. This is supposed to be seconds, though like I said, it doesn't map up quite perfectly, but there you go. There's your blinking behavior. I actually don't know if I can put a decimal in here. Let's try that to speed it up even more. Let's go to, say, 0.3. Ah, I can. See, there's functionality there that I didn't even know about. But there you go. Speed it up a bit more. I don't know how well that plays because the frame rate of my overhead camera is not fantastic. Actually, none of these frame rates are fantastic, but it's actually blinking pretty quick, almost strobe light speedish. So you can play around with the colors here. Let's say we want that one to be red. Red. Put these back up on each other. There you go. A little siren looking effect now. But let's see. I don't think there's too much else to talk about there. That's pretty much all of that. Yeah, okay. So I gotta polish a few things off. I'm actually surprised there were no bugs there during the demonstration. That seemed to go okay. Other than a issue I did notice where these gradients are not live updating in the actual selected box as I make the changes. For some reason, they're not picking up the events indicating that these are being indicating that these are being changed. So that's actually just a cosmetic bug, not really functionality. But I would like to get it fixed because it can get kind of confusing where you see this is the Lightbar profile 1 is the one we just created with the blinking, but it still shows as blank. So that can get confusing. So I would like to fix that up. Yeah, other than that, I mean, you know, trackpad's working nice and smooth, nice and responsive. I'm happy with everything, how this program's going all together. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to polish some stuff up and create the installer and all that stuff, and I'll probably still release this as like an interim release. I won't push it as an update to 1.6.10 yet. It'll be like a separate kind of a download because I don't know, it still might have some, it's still untested on a lot of people's computers. There might be some odd behavior, and I don't want to push it to everybody until, you know, I get a few more people coming back saying, yeah, it seems like it's working great. So, you know, once that happens, then I'll push it as an actual update and everybody will get it. But in the meantime, next day or two, I'm going to take some time to, like I said, polish some stuff off, fix some tiny little cosmetic bugs, and then I'm going to release it on the site as like a separate download for now. All right, guys, that'll do it. Everybody have a good one.